December 20th, a month later, Panama Just Cause goes down, and we get alerted, fly out, go back to Panama.
Can you explain what that was all about?
I guess it was time to let Manuel Noriega, who we empowered to do what he was doing down there, to take back the power from him because he got a little overzealous with it. So somebody we put in power, out of control, powers that be here in the States, out of the White House at the time, decide to, I guess, indict him for his criminal acts. One of which, eventually, unit has one of the rescues out there, Kurt Muse. They do that when they're down there. Funny experience with the unit. I'm not at the unit at the time. I'm with 9th Infantry Regiment, the 7th Infantry Division at the time, but doing great things as a grunt, junior leader. So one of those things, I got this Death Blossom story. So talk about communications and getting grunts to do on a whim. You don't have to talk, or as soon as you say something, they're on it, right? One of the things I used to say right before we went on a hit down there was, because it's get, despite all the confusion, and they were scared, and it's like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Like, okay, hey, cool your jets, man. If you see me shooting at something, find something to shoot at. Bottom line, just do that. All right? So I didn't think about that at the time when I said it, but we go on this raid, and we're going to get this one dude who's apparently one of the Battalion 2000 was the Noriega's army at the time, the army down there that went rogue. And now we were training them, they're friends, now they're our enemies, just like Noriega was. One row, an alleyway, let's just call it an alleyway. It's Panama City, so it's just a narrow street. And with these little storage units, which they turned into homes. So now they're occupied by people. And one of these units was the guy we were after. And I have the traditional infantry guys with me, the infantry tables of organization and equipment, right? My 203 gunner. So as we're going down this narrow passageway, I'm leading on the left. I have a 203 gunner on my right side across the street, and we're leading both ends of the street. And I told Smitty, was my 203 gunner, I said, hey, when I stop, you stop, right? So if we don't hear each other or you don't hear me, when I stop, you stop. If I'm shooting something, find something to shoot. And he's got the old school grenadier vest on, and they're stacked with all these HE 40 mic rounds and a couple of smokes, and it was a daytime raid. And we offload the vehicles, and we get to this last covered and concealed position, and it's a sprint to the door from there. So down this, it wasn't a long sprint. And as we're going, I'm crouched down and, face to the front. And I look to my right, and I see Smitty across the way. And literally from here to that wall is the width of the street we're on. And I see him crouched down. But his legs, when they come up, they're kicking out from his vest, the 40 mic rounds on the bottom row of his vest. And I was like, well, he's got plenty left of his vest when we get there. And it's such a small place. We're probably not going to use it. I'm probably not going to ask him to use that anyway. So I was okay with that. It's just he's dropping some rounds. We'll pick those up afterwards, after the assault, right? Assault goes down. Well, let's get to this assault. So there's a little break on my side. There's a break which we're going to go set up on this door. There's a break in the row of storage units, homes, and it goes out to the jungle, right? And that was just where the kids played and everything. It was just a break in the facility, the structure. And that's where I was going to go, set up right around the door. So you're around the corner, and there's the door. So I set up, and we were going to tell him in Spanish. I had one of my guys spoke fluent Spanish. We're going to tell him to come out, kind of thing, something to that effect, or we're coming in after you, right? You're wanted by this, that, and the other thing, and we're coming in after you if you don't come out. So he said he has his wife and kid in there, and we said, okay, we'll send them out so they don't get hurt, and sent them out. We grabbed them up, scooped them up, took them off, and as soon as they went, a couple of our supporting elements that came to pick up the wife and kid, they take them out of the way. As soon as they came, as soon as they disappeared and they were safe, I rounded the corner, right? Doors. I'm looking through the window and the door, and I'm waiting for this guy to come out or do something. And my guy's talking to him. It's like, come out now or we're coming in. And he wanted to put up a fight.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I backed up a little bit. So I'm on a knee. I'm looking inside the door and looking at this window, and I have this support by fire position. Now I'm talking the width of this room is the width of this lane. Support by fire position had 2 machine guns. They're M60 machine guns back to old school days. They're that close to this building.
Holy shit.
And I said, come out or we're coming in. And I wasn't planning on doing that. Just that, I don't know, it's like the guns are going to open up first, and then we're going in afterwards. Typical infantry raid, right? Mm-hmm. Support by fire opens up. They do their job. Okay, cease fire on the guns, and then we'll go in. Clean up the mess. Well, he says he's not coming out. So, decision time for me. I was like, well, I didn't expect him to say that, right? But he sent his family out, family's safe, now he's going to fight. So I backed up a little bit, I'm on a knee, so I just sit on my foot, and I looked back behind me to my rifleman, but he's my speaker, my linguist. I said, tell him we're coming in. I took a frag out of my kit, and I said, tell him we're leading with this and coming in afterwards. And so he told him, come out or, yada, 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 and we're coming in. And he said something about fragmentation. So my Spanish wasn't so good at the time. And he said he's not coming out. Ramirez, my guy, he's like, hey, Sergeant P, he's not coming out. So I was like, roger that. Did the whole little, hey, pulling my pin, showed everybody that was behind me. And I threw it in the door, the game, douche, right? So as soon as I threw the grenade, I backed up against the wall. So I'm crouched down, I'm backed up against the wall and waiting for the explosion. Right? So they're all thatched roofs. And there's cinder block that are making these storage units, and now they're homes. And thatch stuff just starts flying. There's debris everywhere. And right above us, fragmentation is coming through the cinder block, right? And as I was sitting there thinking, just loud as hell, man. Just doosh, everything explodes. And I see everything flying, and I look back at the wall and the frag holes. I was like, oh, man, that wasn't such a good idea, right? And I'm looking down the line like, okay, everybody's still good. We're still good. So off we go. I said, let's go, follow me, or something to that effect. I rounded the corner and guns in. And they have this little partition. It's a small room. This little partition where it separated the room. I yelled gun on the coffee table. Ended up to be a toy gun. I yelled gun as I'm going through the door. And I see this partition. And if somebody's hiding in there, that's a good place to hide. So I just stitched the wall, right? So total grunt raid stuff, right? It's not like surgical fires and, target ID and all this shit. I just fragged this place, so we're going in blazing, right? I go in, I yell gun on the table and start stitching this wall. And what did I tell my guys? If you see me shooting, find something to shoot at.
Oh, shit.
So the 2 guys that were coming in with me, there was 4 guys that were on the entry team. One stayed at the door and took outside security, and the other 2 guys joined me as they're right behind me, and I'm just stitching this wall. What did Sergeant P do? What did he say last? Find something to shoot. And they're just stitching walls. I was like, and I hear them shooting, and it's loud as fuck. And it's like, okay, my side's clear. And they're like, wait for the lull and fire. And they're like, clear. They're yelling, clear, clear, and all this other shit. And I look back behind the kitchen little thing that I shot at, and there's nothing there. And there's a little bedroom, or a little room, which is their bedroom, and a somewhat of a bathroom. And that's where he was hiding underneath a bunch of furniture. We go in there and look around. This place had just been fragged. There's still that thatch roof stuff, dust in the air, and the frag and the cement cinder block debris everywhere. We can't hear anything because we just fired 3 guns in our ears. And Ramirez is yelling at this dude like come out, are you hurt, or all this other things. And by then I'm thinking, surely this dude's like near death at this point, right? And he's underneath this 2 mattresses, and he pulled something. It was like some sort of a bookshelf or a shelf, but over him. And we took all that stuff off and got him at gunpoint. And he had his hands already up. He's on his back and he's got his hands up. And I look at him, and he's clean as day, right? And he only has on shorts. So he doesn't have any other clothing on or anything. He has on shorts and thongs or whatever, slippers or whatever the hell he had on his feet. And it's like, how does this guy not have any holes in him? And I had Ramirez talk to him. He's like, are you okay? You have anything hurt? And I'm doing like an initial assessment on the guy at the same time. Not a scratch on.
Holy shit.
The only thing he couldn't do or had complaints about was his hearing. He couldn't hear anything. So I flex tied him, got him up, hooded him, took him outside, got him out of the way. And I was thinking the whole time that, post-assault procedure kind of stuff. So we go in there and look around and do the SSC thing in his little cabin, whatever that is. And then the people started coming out from their homes in their doorways and asking, they thought the 203 gunner, Smitty, going in as dropping the 203s, was mining the roadway going in. So they thought they were landmines. Yeah, they thought they were landmines.
Shit. How many of those things did he drop?
It's like half a dozen of them. And I looked around, and I was like, no, there's no landmines. Are they saying landmines? Like, ask them specifically, like landmines. And Ramirez was like, yep, no, they're landmines. And I looked down the street, and I can see the golden egg trail, right? I was like, oh, is that what they're talking about? And they said yes. And I was like, oh, hey, tell them we'll take them. We're going to pick them up on the way out. Get Smitty on the radio. Hey, come pick up your grenades. And that was it. That was the Death Blossom story, because we're back to back just shooting up this little room. But it was like, then I was thinking, well, okay, maybe I need to work on my communications a little bit with these guys. Not quite go.
Just find something to shoot.
Yeah. And they did exactly
nice
what I told
walk.
them to do. This is where we're going to get hit. Somebody's setting us up for an ambush, right? And that kind of was prevalent in the guys. And I didn't say that to anybody, but the guy had leading. He had stopped. He halted the patrol. I came up to see what was happening, and the kid kept walking and disappeared into the shanty house. And where we stopped wasn't a good place to stop, because it was like everybody, including myself, was thinking, like, woodline jungle, can't see anything. It's at night, and then shantytown. This is where we're going to get hit. So I was just like, hey, keep moving, keep going. And he was literally frozen. He said, I can't go any further. He's like, hey, Sergeant Perry, I can't do it. And I said, can't do what? He goes, oh, I can't go forward. I think I'm going to lead everybody into an ambush. I can't do this. And I was like, all right, leadership decision going on right here in my head, going, what do I do now? We're already going to this target. Support elements are in position. So I said, all right, follow me. Let's go. And then found this kid. The kid, is doing this whole thing. I was like, Right? This little kid, if he steers in the wrong direction, that's another thing I got going on in my head. Like, what am I going to do with that kid, right? But he led us to this house, past the support positions, and finally American Faces in the shanty village is like, whoa, who's that? It's like our support position. Finally get to this place, raid the place. All the things you ever talk about in breaching, like bad happen, right? Sledge through the door that goes through the door and gets stuck, all these things. And it's it's a shanty village, and it's in a bad part of it's Panama, so
Yeah.
it's wet ground, and so the house is on stilts. So this is raised.
She's like out in the fucking jungle.
Yeah, it's raised about waist level, and so there's rickety steps that go in through the front door, and they're just steps. It's not like something you can stack on and all these other things, right? And then it's just a plywood shack, and with a plywood door, and the door's locked. It had a padlock on it. So the guy I had up there first with bolt cutters, he was going to cut the lock and then open the door. I said, just hit it with the sledgehammer. The whole door and the wall is going to go down when you hit it with a sledgehammer, and then we're in position to cover everything by fire, right? And so it's elevated about waist level, and so he has to swing this sledge at this knob, or the attaching point. It wasn't really a doorknob, but he has to swing the hammer over his head. So as he's swinging it over his head, sticks in the door and gets stuck. And then it's like, oh God, worst nightmare. It's like, and go, right? Stuck. Oh my God. And everybody's bumping into each other because we're getting ready to run into this place and assault this building, this room. And then it was just like, stepping over our guys to get in because the steps gave away. They under the weight of the first two guys that got on these wood steps. They're wet, they're dilapidated, they're rickety, and to get into the front door, stepping over our guys, just to crawl into the threshold of this door, and then, from a kneeling, laying position, starting to clear this room. It was just the worst thing imaginable. But it's like, everything doesn't always work out perfectly.
Yeah.
You get to go in, all cool and sexy and shit.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.